welcome to In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. Thank you for joining us. In the Know is a program that helps you to basically stay informed. We have a series that we include with the Sheriff of Norfolk County, so that's who's visiting today. That would be Sheriff Patrick McDermott. Welcome back, Sheriff.
Thanks, Mark. Keeping it consistent. You know, now that I'm starting a new 6-year term, it looks as though that we're going to be doing this for many years to come. So
very good. I'm glad to hear that, and congratulations again. We were at your swearing in, and we will have a bit of that. There were some performances that were that had taken place that night. Your daughter, a wonderful voice, your son as well. Your daughter will actually provide the music for the credits later.
Yeah, we had a great night, and I'm glad that QATV had the opportunity to come and be part of it and film us. You're part of our family, as I'm part of yours, I think, and so it was great to have you guys there, and it was a really great celebration. And we weren't able to celebrate a couple of years ago, even though I won that election 2 years ago to fill Sheriff Bellotti's final 2 years in office, but we were in the middle of COVID. So there was kind of no celebratory opportunity for my team, my family, my supporters, and so that was kind of the culmination of 4 years of work, and it was a great night to celebrate. And I'm glad that QATV was able to be there and share it with the rest of the communities.
Absolutely, and we were glad to be there. We do have a photo that we will bring up on screen in just a moment, because there were some festivities that were taking place earlier that day, and this involved the re-swearing in of deputies.
Yeah, so you know the sheriff will swear in deputies, both internal deputies at the deputy sheriffs who are deputy sheriffs in the sheriff's office, as well as those that help us outside in the community as well. So every time a new sheriff takes over, they have to re-swear in all those deputy sheriffs. And so I swore in a lot of these men and women 2 years ago, and now they get re-sworn in again with my new term. And I think it's my understanding that this swearing in for them is good for 3 years. So we're going to be swearing in up to 1,000 deputy sheriffs over the course of the next few weeks. But the first round is usually our internal deputy sheriffs, our transportation people, anybody that's out in the community on a consistent basis. And then we'll be rolling out to all of our police departments. And most of the police departments around Norfolk County also serve as deputy sheriffs for the sheriff's office. So, but we'll roll that out as the coming weeks are. So I look forward to getting out and talking to our chiefs of police and our men and women in the communities on who are going to serve as deputy sheriffs.
We should mention that we are recording this program on the 23rd of January. So to all of you out there, Happy Lunar New Year.
Year of the Rabbit. Happy Lunar New Year.
Let's talk about some testimony before the Joint Committee on the Judiciary.
So the legislature is, our partner. They're our funding partner. That we can't do anything in the sheriff's office unless we have the funding from the legislature. And so they asked the sheriffs to come in to give kind of an update and a report. I serve now as the vice president of the Massachusetts Sheriff's Association. So myself and Sheriff Nick Kochi, who's our president, as well as the past president, Peter Katusian, all attended, along with several other sheriffs, but we were the speakers for that particular day. Just to update the legislature on, to hold us accountable in terms of where the money is being spent, what our mission is in the sheriff's office, where, what are we doing in programming, what are we doing for inmate education and reentry issues, how the difference over the course of years in incarceration has worked, how COVID, how we dealt with COVID issues, how we're dealing with medically assisted treatment programs. That's the biggest change, I think, from a policy perspective as well as from a financial perspective. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office was a pilot program for the medically assisted treatment program, which helps those that are suffering from substance use disorder get off of their addiction issues. And so we piloted that prior to me becoming sheriff. I continued the program, and so the legislature was very interested in hearing how that program was working. Luckily, I was able to report that it's working out quite well. There's now some academic studies that show that the the program works, that there is success on this, and so we're looking forward to continuing that with the support of the legislature. So it was a very positive experience. We were grilled pretty well by the chairs of both the House and the Senate and the respective membership, but it was a great relationship, and we're getting back on the horse now for budget season, so we'll be up at the Hill again to discuss those issues with the legislature, and we look forward to partnering with them.
Well, I think it speaks for transparency in government, which people are more and more looking towards.
Absolutely, and you know, the sheriffs we are the representatives of the people when it comes to public safety, and you know, there's also the Department of Correction that is kind of appointed through the governor's office, and the Department of Correction deals with more the higher level crimes and the longer term sentences. So they have an interest in both the Department of Correction as well as the sheriff's offices. But as representatives of the people, we have to be held accountable to the people that elect us. So we want to make sure that we're conscientious on our budgeting, conscientious on how we spend the taxpayers' money, and so that's why, you know, our friends in the legislature, they're partners. You know, they're elected as well, and we know that together we have to make sure that we're accountable to the people. And you know, we live in an era of transparency. I mean, you can go online right now and you go on the open checkbook and find out where we're spending our money in the sheriff's office. And I know that we do it prudently, we do it wisely, and I think that the return on investment, as I like to call it, you know, if you're investing in me, you know, our budget's anywhere from about $38 to $42 million, give or take. I like to say that you're getting a good return on that investment from a public safety perspective.
Before we get to the list of topics, I do have one more to discuss that wasn't originally part of our
A surprise
discussion.
topic?
Well,
okay, this is good.
It's not that much of a surprise. You and I spoke before the cameras were rolling, and that is partnering with the RSVP program, which is part of the Norfolk County, I suppose, collaborative.
Yeah, so Norfolk County, the Commissioner's Office, years ago came up with the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and I've been involved with them for years myself, and they're invaluable in terms of the services that they provide throughout the county. So the Sheriff's Office, even though we're not within the governmental structure, part of Norfolk County government, we are a partner within the geographical location in Norfolk County. So we have a great relationship with the RSVP program. We're looking to build upon that. We've had chances to do some drives for the veterans. Now we're going to be partnering up again with our Are You OK program, which is one of our signature programs that we have. We just need more volunteers to help us out. And so the Norfolk County RSVP program is there. They already have a built-in mechanism for volunteers, so we're happy to have them as a partner.
Let's talk about a new partnership with the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation.
So, you know, many folks may or may not have heard of Vanessa Marcotte, and as I call this, is kind of a silver lining on a very difficult situation and a black cloud. But in 2016, Vanessa Marcotte, young girl, 27 years old, she was visiting her mother up in Princeton, Massachusetts, and went out for a jog. It was an early afternoon jog. It wasn't at night. It wasn't early morning. It was middle of the afternoon, and sadly, she was accosted. She was assaulted, sexually assaulted, and then sadly murdered at the hands of an individual who's now serving life in prison. And that was it was a tragic circumstance, tragic moment. And from that, the parents of Vanessa and her friends wanted to come up with something positive. You know, what could they do to keep Vanessa's memory alive in a positive way? So they started the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation, and the purpose of the foundation is to provide self-defense classes for community members, to kind of give people an awareness of their situation, give them some tactics in the event that they are accosted or assaulted. And so we've partnered up with the foundation. This is based out in Worcester County, and my colleague Sheriff Evangelitis spoke so highly of it at one of our meetings that I said, well, I'd love to contact them. And he said they would be thrilled to bring the program east over to Norfolk County. So we have a team of employees that are, it's basically a train-the-trainer program. So the foundation provides the initial training. We provide our trainers locally, and I think our trainers are going through round 2 tomorrow. and that'll complete their training. At that stage of the game, we can then take our trainers, bring the program out to the community. And so we are going to start that hopefully soon by getting locations around the county, putting the word out to people that are interested in getting that self-defense techniques. And this is, I think, going to be life-saving. Clearly, Vanessa, she according to the reports, she fought back this assault. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough for her to be victorious in that. But she wanted to make sure through her foundation and with her family to make sure that others are equipped with all the right techniques so that they could protect themselves. So we're very happy with our partnership with them. We're hoping, once again, we can keep the memory of Vanessa Marcotte alive. And I know I just got an email today from our friends in Dove, and we know that domestic violence and violence against women and partners, and even from strangers, is a consistent problem throughout our community. So it's partnerships that we have with foundations like the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation, Dove, that make sure that we make sure that violence is not something that we want to continue in our community.
And out of this tragedy came something positive.
Correct, and that's what it is. And the people that are running this foundation, I think this gives them a second round of purpose. And Vanessa herself she was a Google employee. She had her whole life ahead of her, and was cut short tragically. And so this gives an opportunity to give her life again, and hopefully this will continue on with partners like the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office and other agencies in the future.
Let's talk about the next phase of the Public Safety Alliance.
So this is something that came about kind of as an evolution of what was previously known as the Triad program. That's a program that was started by the National Sheriff's Association, adopted in Norfolk County by Sheriff Bellotti. And it was started out as a partnership between the Sheriff's Office, the Councils on Aging, and just the local police department to talk about safety issues within the various regions of Norfolk County. So we wanted to evolve it. We wanted to make the Sheriff's Office more of like a full umbrella of public safety components and programming for the folks that we represent. And we realized when I first became sheriff and we were analyzing the various programs, both in the sheriff's office as well as from the various other agencies, that there was a lot of overlap, a lot of duplication. So rather than compete with each other on programming, we figured, why don't we form an alliance of all the different agencies? So for the last 2 years, we've been meeting with chiefs of police, fire chiefs, veteran service agents, local councils on aging, superintendents of schools, local health boards, to come up with a plan to put together a public safety alliance. And that is going to be a community by community partnership that we're going to have. And so if there's a program that's working great in Avon that we think should be sold throughout the county, we're going to take it through this Public Safety Alliance to Medway, to Medfield, down to Plainville, up to Wellesley. So this next phase of the game, so for 2 years, it's taken a while. There's 28 towns in Norfolk County, a lot of community meetings, a lot of build-up.
And probably a lot of great ideas out
Lots
there.
of great ideas. So much stuff going on that I didn't know about either. And I've been an elected official in Norfolk County for over 20 years. And so there's so many remarkable things going on that we don't want people competing for funding, competing for airtime. We want to make sure that this is something shared across communities, and each community is different too, and we recognize that. So what works in Quincy may not work down in Foxborough, but it might be a great idea that if they take that and repackage it in a different way, it'll be successful. So that's the purpose of the Public Safety Alliance. So now that we've got kind of our homework done, we're going to go in the second phase of the game to really launch this and go really town by town, set up memorandums of understanding with the local stakeholders, and start really aggressively putting a programming in place for our seniors, our veterans, our kids, to really create an environment that everybody in their community feels safe. Whether they're in Avon or Weymouth, Plainville, Stoughton, Norwood, I can list them all. Doesn't matter. We want public safety to be the number one priority for people in their community.
Very good. Let's talk about employment and employment readiness.
Yeah, so this is something that's been a focal point for me since when I was running for sheriff, and when I first became sheriff. And during my first term, I continually revisited the notion that we needed to basically reconceive public safety, to look at the conditions that what leads people into criminal behavior in the first place. And those things usually revolve around housing insecurity, food insecurity, job insecurity. These are all public safety issues. You know, people might not see them right away, but they are. They are the root causes of what ends up into criminal behavior for these individuals. So during this coming term, and we've put some programs in place. There were some great existing programs. We've retweaked those a little bit, and we've opened the doors up, making sure now post-COVID to bring vendors in, teachers in. We want to make sure that employee readiness programming and initiatives at the Sheriff's Office continue to assure that people in our custody re-enter their communities with all the skills, which is important, but also the connections in order for that they can have productive careers once they leave our care and custody. This gives them both financial stability immediately, as well as the ability to go rent an apartment, hopefully maybe purchase a home someday. And then, you know, when we talk about food insecurity, you know, a lot of people they have to choose between whether pay the rent or put food on the table. We want to make sure it's a well-rounded approach, that everything is taken care of. One of my first things that I did as sheriff was, and I think I've spoken to this before, but we're really proud of it, and I can't talk about it enough, is appoint the Director of Reentry Services. We didn't have a real robust reentry program at the Sheriff's Office. And so our reentry director has really done yeoman's work, getting out into the community, talking to employers who would be willing to give a second chance to our justice-involved individuals. When people come into the facility, you know, we have plenty of employment programs, and we want to know what the job market is looking like. So he's taken it upon himself to find where the jobs are, what the needs of those employers are, and in the event, and he's signed them on, 300 plus what we call CORI-friendly employers. So CORI is the criminal records search. So when you go for an employment or you went to go to rent a home, oftentimes you have to sign a waiver to get CORI'd. And when things come back, a lot of employers immediately will say, I see that you have a conviction, you've been incarcerated, sorry, I can't hire you. Well, we've identified over 300 employers that are ready, willing, and able to hire our justice-involved individuals. Our guarantee to them is we'll teach them the skill set while they're in our care and custody, so that they'll be ready when they leave, and they'll have a job ready for them when they leave. So we're really excited about the employee readiness initiatives that we're putting out there through education, through hands-on skill training. We're renovating a house down in Braintree right now with inmate work. We have a retired corrections officer who's a contractor and a carpenter. We're showing these men how to paint, how to do drywall, how to build stairs, how to frame out the building, how to frame out windows, install windows. So these are skills that are actually very quickly put into play in the private sector.
It develops self-worth.
Exactly. That's the first thing when I talk to these guys. I go out there every now and then and see how the project is going, and they seem to have a renewed sense of worth for themselves, a degree of hope. And that's one of our pillars, is to provide hope to these men, that they have the skill sets in them. They just need to be brought out of them. So we're having some success with that, and there's a lot of business out in the community, a lot of contractors that are looking for help, and we're hoping that through our efforts, we'll be able to provide some of that much needed labor.
Very good. Let's talk about the creation of the new Support Services Center.
So once this kind of dovetails on the reentry stuff. So the unfortunate thing is, for most individuals that go through the criminal justice system, they have probation on one side, and then they have the sheriff's office and possibly the Department of Corrections on another. And once people go through our programs in the sheriff's office, as much as we've trained them, as much as we've given them mental health counseling, substance use disorder counseling, we've made sure that they've got their GED, they might have some advanced college credits that they can get involved, all the work skills. Once they leave our facility, we no longer have any kind of custody over these individuals, so they're left to their own vices, and oftentimes that leads to recidivism if they don't have somebody on the outside that's constantly bringing them back into the right. So this support service center, something that I saw out in Springfield, my colleague Sheriff Kochi has a very active and robust support service center in Springfield, and I think it's something that would be more than I'm more than willing to put forth into Norfolk County similarly. And that's a center, it's a drop-in center that can be for both formerly incarcerated individuals as well as folks who might be at risk. So we're going to be partnering up with our friends in the trial court to identify people that may be going into criminal behavior. And here's the deal. Most people that come and finally get convicted and sent to the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office and the House of Correction, it's not their first time in the criminal justice system. Oftentimes it's repeat, and the crimes escalate to a point where they have to be incarcerated. We want to stop that. And 9 times out of 10, as I talked about in my prior discussion, it's housing insecurity, job insecurity, food insecurity, income insecurity. Therefore, they're committing crimes. If we can get them before it becomes a very bad habit, which leads to incarceration. Through the support service center, we're hoping that the trial court will refer some of that work to us. We can work with these individuals on getting them into the workforce, getting them the skills, getting the licensing that they need, whatever the deal is, or if they're having housing problems, we can identify our friends in the nonprofit community that can help with that. This support service center is going to be something that's very robust, and it will be available for all members of the community, not just people that have been incarcerated. But we think it's something that we want to put forth a continuum of care for these individuals, that they're not going to fall through the cracks. We're going to be there for them. We're going to be open, hopefully, like a 7 in the morning till probably 10 at night, because of the educational programs we're going to run at night, AA programs, drug counseling, all that fun stuff. Weekends, we want to make sure that this is a center that people can really get some things done. But this will allow for a continuum of care. We're working on it right now in the facility, talking to some of the inmates, especially those that are going to be released in the near future. Would you be willing to continue to work with us for 6 months to a year to guarantee that we keep you on the right track? And we'll get a lot of positive feedback.
I know our next topic already saw an expansion. I believe it was expanded from just Braintree to include Franklin as well. I'm talking about the Youth Leadership Academy.
Yes, signature program for the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. Celebrated 20 years last year. And as I say, we did expand as a pilot program down to Franklin, which was a huge success. People are looking forward to having us back. So we will be definitely back in business in Braintree, as we always have been. Usually our online registration kicks in around the beginning of March, I think, maybe into March. That sells out instantly, so we'll make sure that people get the word out quickly. But we've identified, and I can't announce it officially yet, but we will have a location down in the southeastern part of Norfolk County, which will be readily available for a full youth leadership camp this year. So we're hoping to host another, 1,000 kids down there this year. This is something that I promised the people in that part of the county, that we would bring some of the programming that we have down to that part of the county. So this is our signature program. It really teaches kids teamwork, good decision making, builds up self-confidence. And because the signature thing is the ropes, we have our ropes course, in which back in my daring days, I'd be up there all the time, but as I'm a little older now,
Are those gone?
I'm
days?
I'm not as daring, I should say, but we're going to be having a similar campus down in the southern part of the county for the kids.
And staying on topic, you have a giveaway that's associated with the camp.
So we're going to do these giveaways. I'm going to see how they work out, everything. So we figured it'd be easy because now we're getting ready to launch the Youth Leadership Camp again. So we have 2 free weeks to the Youth Leadership Camp we're giving away. We're asking anybody that's watching the show to sign up, and you can visit, I don't know if it's on the screen yet, but it's one of those tinyurl.com site, so tiny, tinyurl.com/NCSO Youth. So that is something you can go to that, sign up, or I think we're going to have a QR code at some point in the program that you can grab your camera out, take a picture of the QR code, that'll immediately bring you to the sign-up sheet. So we just want to have people, kind of those who are our fan base, get rewarded for watching the program. So we give them 2 weeks at that youth leadership camp. That's basically 2 individuals once. I don't think we're going to give 2 to one individual. We want 2 people to win. But
spread it out a bit.
It's a value of $200. Best
Very
$200 ever. It's the cheapest week of camp you'll find anywhere in Massachusetts, in my opinion. So
Because it promotes, I mean, we talked about the ropes course, it promotes, I guess, partnerships and collaboration.
yes.
And it's not all about the physical.
No, that's the thing. The physical is kind of is a very small component, to be honest with you. It actually it's about when you watch these kids go up with their peer leaders, they're coaching each other. There are those that are a little bit more daring than others, and those that are a little bit more apprehensive and fearful get coached by the other people. And it's just that teamwork and the camaraderie that's developed. And I've seen it firsthand with a kid that was petrified halfway up the pole and wasn't sure if he was going to make it, but had a coach underneath and a coach above, and that kid got up on the ropes, walked across, and ended up rappelling down. So he overcame those fears, and it's just great to watch that. And that's the story that he'll tell for years for his family and friends.
I'll let you close this program with something that you're going to present here, and enough said on my part.
So, we have, I heard recently that Quincy Access Television won a few awards. And so I wanted to recognize the amazing achievements that and the incredible work that you guys have been doing here in QATV with 3 separate awards. So it's my pleasure to do 3 individual awards to Quincy Access Television. Currently in Quincy is an award for receiving 2nd place award in the news and format category for local programming and keeping the citizens of Quincy not only informed but entertained. So that's for our friends at Currently in Quincy.
Very nice, thank you.
We have another for congratulations to QATV overall for Overall Excellence Award for the 2nd consecutive year for your exceptional service, leadership, and countless contributions to the city of Quincy and to Norfolk County. So congratulations on the number 2 award.
Thank you so much.
And the 3rd one that I have in the mix here is for Quincy Access Television's Aiming Aimlessly, which I have to tune into. I've heard about it, but I haven't tuned in yet, in recognition of receiving the 3rd place award in the music and performance category. And shame on me for not having tuned in.
You're so
that's
into
my
music.
thing. So,
You'll have to see it. It's a wonderful music
congratulations to QATV. You're bringing great programming to the people of not just Quincy, but as we all know, you send this stuff out around the county, at least on my behalf. And so I'm always amazed at the awards that you receive, and I think local programming needs to continue. So
Very good. And keeping on that performance line, if you will, we're not going to have the regular music when we sign off. We are actually going to have your daughter, Alana, singing at the swearing-in ceremony.
she brought her daddy to tears, and so it was amazing.
And a lot of
experience.
us.
It was an amazing experience. She's a sophomore at the Berkeley College School of Music, along with my son, who's a freshman. So they're both passionate about music, and I was honored to have both of them perform at the swearing-in.
Well, we have a treat for you at home. You will see Alana and hear Alana as we sign off on this particular program. Thank you for watching, and stay well.
Notre amour est chose et légère, comme les parfums que les vapeurs nocives de la fougère. Quand on les respire, on les vente. Notre amour est chose et légère. Notre amour est chose et charmante, comme les chansons du matin. On nous regrette sous le monde, où vivre la soirée certaine. Notre amour est chose et charmante. Notre amour est chose et sacrée, comme les mystères des mois tressaillent de m'ignorer, où les silences ont des voix. Notre amour est chose et sacrée.